Hi there. Welcome to Monetise Your Business podcast conversations in partnership with FNB. My name is Hetty, the entrepreneur, and every week we bring you a phenomenal entrepreneur who's doing remarkable things within their area of expertise. And this week is no different. We've got Xoli Madlala, who is such an incredible multi-hyphenate entrepreneur. She is an author. She is a menopause policy advisor. She is a coach. She is a speaker. And I think that she is also shattering glass ceilings. And you're going to see a little bit of this through our conversation. But you know how we do over here. I'm not flying this plane on my own. I've got my trusted co-pilot with me. Papa Biz, how are you today?
No, I'm good. I'm looking forward to this conversation. This is a friend that we've had for quite some time. And now finally you're here with us. So this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you so much.
I'm really excited to get into it because I think that this is one of those conversations we're not having enough of. And even ourselves as entrepreneurs, not even thinking about it and the impact it can have on our business. But before we can actually talk about that, I think it would be lovely for us to know a little bit about Koli,
Yeah.
the person.
Yeah.
Who is Koli? Where did you grow up? Your
Yep.
early context, just to give us a bit of an idea about you.
I always say that the older you get, I think there's so much to say. But for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to try to condense it as much as possible.
No problem.
Yeah.
Koli, originally from KwaZulu-Natal, Pietermaritzburg to be specific. Born and bred there. I was an only child for a good 13 years. So I thought I was the only one.
Yes.
And then one day I come back from boarding school. My mom is highly pregnant.
Wow.
So the age gap between me and my sister is 2 years.
Yeah.
So I come from a very loving family.
Yeah.
And I went to school there. I went to tertiary there. And then when I was 19, I got an opportunity to go work for Disney World for a good 18 months.
Wow.
Because I had done travel and tourism.
Wow.
So that was my first time
Where was that?
in Florida.
Really?
That is incredible.
Yes. My first time on the plane was for that trip.
Yeah.
So I stayed there for a good 18 months because we were also working at Animal Kingdom, but also promoting Africa and South Africa as a tourist destination.
Okay.
Okay.
After that, then you have an option to stay over or come back to your country of origin. And that's when, for me, I decided that I want to come back to South Africa.
Oh, wow.
Because, like, our country, I feel like it's got so much to offer.
Okay.
Yes.
Came back, stayed in Pietermaritzburg for a good 6 months, but I felt like I had outgrown it.
Yes.
And then I was like, what's next for me? I saved up 3 months rent, moved up to Joburg, resigned from my permanent job. And I was like, I'm going to start from scratch.
Okay.
And that's what happened when I got up to Joburg.
So you had no plans coming to Joburg. It was like, let's see, the world is my oyster.
Yep. I just said to my mom, you know what? I'm going to give this a try.
Yeah.
3 months, 6 months at tops. And she said that if things do not work out in Joburg, please do not become a hobo
Yes.
or resort to other unsavory ways of making money.
Yeah.
Just come back home, know that the doors are open for you.
That's great.
And then I came up in Joburg. My friend was leaving her flat, so I just took it over.
Okay.
And then I got my first job in Germiston. And those that are familiar with Germiston, they know that it's one of those places where you are from a small city, you get there like...
You're like, hey.
I was not sure when to the taxi driver when he said, like, this is where we are. I'm like, are you sure?
Are you sure this is...
Yeah. And then my first job was in Golden Walk, working in a clothing store. No title, did everything. You are a cleaner, you are a security guard, you're carrying stock, you're doing everything. A low start, very low start. But I always say that I knew that my moving to Joburg had something bigger. I did not know, obviously, what it was. A very humbling experience, and it taught me so much. And then fast track, call center, fast track, one day I got a call in a taxi saying that they've received my CV. Am I interested to come for a swimming assessment?
Okay.
And like, swimming assessment for, okay, what time, where? And that's how then my next chapter of working for the National Carrier as a flight attendant came about.
Okay, as a flight attendant.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
In hindsight, again, when I came back, I was like, Lord, I do not want to relocate, but I love traveling.
Yes.
So can you make sure that something along those lines come
Along
up?
those lines.
And then when the opportunity came,
So it was from your mouth to God's ears.
without being aware.
Yeah.
And then it took a while also, because sometimes when we are speaking things into existence or praying, we hope that it's going to happen almost overnight.
Overnight, yeah.
But then anything that is worthy sometimes takes a bit longer
100%.
because you're being prepared for it, so that also you can appreciate it
Yes.
all the more when it happens.
Yes.
So girl did not know how to swim,
Yeah.
but I showed up there. And then I get there, like it's
Story.
a big pool and people are swimming, doing breaststrokes and everything. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, Lord. And then I get in there, they give you obviously a life jacket. And I thought that I'm going to land facing downwards. Then I can like swim, like pedal. And then I land up facing forward. I'm like, what am I supposed to do when this happens? Then I'm just still in that moment. They're like, try to move. I'm like, I don't know how to.
Yeah.
Like, so do you want the ball? Because then they give you the ball if you can't swim to get out. Then you're done. You've failed.
That's
I'm like,
the
yeah,
end.
give me the ball. They give me the ball. Then I got off.
Oh,
I went home.
Koli.
It was a Friday.
Yeah.
Monday, they call me again. They're like, please come for a swimming assessment. I'm like, okay. I get there. I haven't practiced, obviously.
Yeah.
I tell one of the guys that work there that I was here on Friday and I failed because of this and that. Is like, you know what? You face upward, then just cross your legs, then just move your arms. It's going to happen.
Okay.
And then I did.
And you did exactly.
And I was moving. I'm like, oh, wow. Moving. And that's how then I was able to move to the next phases. And I ended up being with the airline for a good 12 years.
Okay, wow.
A great experience yet again.
Quite a lot of traveling as well at the same time.
Yes, opened up my eyes to so much and to opportunities, because obviously while you're traveling, you're going to these amazing countries. Go to Ghana, one of my favorite countries, in Africa.
Yeah.
Then you go to the markets on your off days, then you start seeing all these amazing products, the fabrics and everything. Then my love for African print went to the next level.
Okay.
And then it took me to starting a clothing line on the side indigenously. Then while multitasking that, and then life happened. I think we're going to get into it later. But I went into premature menopause. Okay. And then it turned my life upside down.
Sure. Imagine.
What a journey, what a story. And I'm quite fascinated by just how open you were and that inner belief that there is something more for me in the world.
Yes.
Beyond what I'm currently seeing here in Pietermaritzburg. And let me go out there and seek it.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've naturally had from birth, or where did you learn that?
I always believe that being raised as an only child, the first grandchild, almost the first everything, I was always nurtured into, you can do anything, you can be anything, you can be everything.
Yeah.
So I've always been, as much as I'm not a loud, outspoken person, but my confidence has always been there. The boldness has always been there. So I think it was innate from childhood.
That's amazing. Yeah, it speaks a lot to how our environment can actually shape our own self-belief, etc.
Can I ask you something quickly? You mentioned that you're in boarding school at 13.
Yes, I went to boarding school at 12. My sister came when I was 13. So, yes, I was already doing, grade 9 now? Was it?
And how did you find boarding school?
I loved boarding school. I loved boarding school because it took me out of my comfort zone when it comes to certain things. As I said, I was an only child for the longest of time. So even if you're living in your world, nobody really pays attention to you. Then getting into boarding school now, some people can look at you and but you almost anti-people sometimes. But you're not noticing it because it's I'm just being in my zone. If I'm feeling like being social, it's okay. But then if I want to disappear into my own world, it should be okay. But now when you're coexisting in a dormitory with other people, then they're like, no, but we can't. You're a robot. You're here, you're there. We can't keep up with you. So those are some of the things that taught me that if you're coexisting with people, then you need to be mindful also of how you're showing up every day so that they're comfortable with you.
Okay.
Sure, that's quite interesting. So tell us a little bit now about this journey, because now you are on a wonderful trajectory. You are working for the airline, you're traveling the world, you're seeing so many things. You started a business in African print clothing, and then though you get the shock of your life.
Yes, my life was turned upside down. I always say that's the best way to explain it. So I was in my 30s, obviously, along the period. Then I started noticing certain changes. physical changes at first, like I'll be with people or I'll be at work serving passengers on a flight. Then I start feeling a bit warm. Then obviously the first reaction is to look around. It's like, is everybody also feeling this warmth? But you see that people are just calm and they're comfortable. Then you shrug it off. Then it continues now, like the heat, it becomes more. Then you start changing even how you dress up.
Yeah.
Like today it's a summer's day, but now you are rocking up. I meant that it's a winter's day, but you are feeling warm, and people start looking at you like,
what's going on here?
It's cold, yeah.
On with you.
Yes.
I remember one time, I offer a lot. I remember one time at church, this girl was saying to me, "Oh, the virgins, they don't feel the cold." People, there's that belief that, and I had to now have this dual existence to say that I'm feeling warm, but then for society, so that I'm not judged on because I don't know what's going on. Let me just layer up and suffer through it. For a number of years, then I was dealing with things like loss of balance that I could not pinpoint as to what is going on, trying to get up. Then I was like, why do I feel like an old lady that is suddenly having to regroup before getting up? Then digestive issues, but I'm continuously putting them off to one thing or another because I'm traveling, insomnia, it's the time zone changes and all of that. Then emotional changes now. It's like feeling so emotional, teary, weepy, and it's not even that time of the month. It's like, what's going on? Am I losing my mind? And the symptoms that really made me to sit up, obviously, and really at some point feel like something was wrong was the psychological symptoms. Things like brain fog, forgetfulness. One moment you know what you want to say, but the disconnect between the mind and the mouth is like, and then it affects your self-confidence, affects your self-esteem, how you show up at work. Now, I started becoming a wallflower. And you know that as flight attendants, I mean, we're supposed to be on the ball. Lights, camera, action, say, ma'am, welcome on board. And then at the worst, it's when then I started struggling with depression, suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
And then one day that was a penny or the pin that dropped, got to know, Koli, for years, something is wrong. And that's when then I went to seek help.
Sure. My goodness. I mean, it's so many different symptoms that I assume that one would shrug it off to different things.
Yes.
And so it would even delay you seeking help because you're thinking, I'm just having a bad day. Or maybe it's just food poisoning.
Especially if you're in your 30s. Because we think menopause, we always think like, 50s, older women. And that's another thing, great disservice that we are done. We are not taught early enough to know that, okay, fine, reproductive stages for women are like this and that, and this is the final one, and it comes with this and that. So even my own mom, I mean, she had no inkling because, I mean, maybe she could have suggested if she knew, child, I'm seeing these things, these changes, but because nobody talks about it, it's under research, it's understudied. So everybody, I think, you just pedal on your own. And then one day, that's when the penny drops and it's like, you know what, it's not this, it's not that. But if you're younger, obviously, than 45, then you need to have it confirmed through running certain tests, as you said. They can be underlying causes. It mimics any other thing.
Yes. So did it take time then to get a diagnosis?
Fortunately for me, I had a great gynae. So obviously I started with the GP. GP said that, you know what, it's possibly this. I'm going to give you this medication. And if it does not help, then you need to go do further blood tests. And you know how gynaes are always so busy. Their own network of gynaes only had an opening in 3 months' time. Remember, I was suicidal at that time. So I was like, no. I don't have 3 months to wait for this. I don't know if I'm still going to be around in 3 months. Then I remember that, but I've got my own gynae. I do not have to stick to their network gynae. And then my own gynae was available. Then he really did a stunning job, walked the journey with me, because that's another thing. Our doctors play a huge role.
Absolutely.
You need someone that really listens to you and treats you as an individual, not as just a patient. And that's why the book is dedicated to him, because he was the lifeline that I needed at that time. So the knowing it got delayed because I was putting time off to go seek help. But then when I did, then I was fortunate enough to have a gynae that really was screwed up about it, because for some women it takes years still, even if you are consulting, for it to be confirmed that it's exactly that.
And I want to check, I mean, from going from the confirmation and the experience, how do we go from there now to this lovely book that you've got here?
Then at some point, firstly, I don't like suffering in silence, right?
Okay.
So I suffered because I think I was just still in this cloud. But the moment that I got to the other side, knew what I was dealing with, then I looked around and said that, okay, fine. They said that it's premature menopause. Obviously, it's happened before time. Oh, okay, it happens 1 to 100 people according to research. But it's like, where are these people?
Where are these
Why
people?
nobody
Why
talking
haven't
about
we
it?
heard about this?
And then secondly, in general, why nobody also is really talking much about menopause. You research, then you see normally white faces, older white faces. Where are people that are speaking menopause in my own languages? Where are faces that look like mine? And then mostly it was crickets. Then I was like, okay, Lord, you put me through it for a reason, clearly. You know
Clearly,
that I'm going to be the vessel that is going to go out there unapologetically. Don't try to PR the struggles because, I mean, we love window dressing things. So when it comes to speaking about certain topics, you need to be as vulnerable as possible so that you are able to connect with people. Otherwise, then they can just be reading another research paper. And then I decided that I'm going to use my platforms first just to engage, mobilize, and also have that relatability.
Yep.
Took a while in the making, but over a number of years now. That was in 2016. But as the years progressed, then more women started reaching out to me to share their experiences.
Sure.
Started forming our own communities. But then I'm like, why don't we have names for these things in our languages? In terms of treatments and approach, where is the information? Where is the knowledge? And then I went then to the next level to say, I've exhausted speaking to my people on social media. Then what's the next tool? And then God loudly, it's time for the book to come out. And then the book was launched in 2023. And I had to approach it in a different way. Obviously, that is not just a Koli story. Because sometimes people are like, okay, so we've read your story. Then what? Then I made sure that it's got academia.
Okay.
So that people will understand, because we know menopause, but what happens? What is it about it? So I wanted people to walk away feeling informed and empowered. And that's how I signed the book also. And it speaks to men, because men coexist with us and they are either our leaders, our partners, our siblings. So we need them to be able to support us. And if they're going to support us, they need to have an understanding as to what is happening.
Yes, an understanding.
Yes. And it speaks to the workplace because, I mean, normally menopause, as I said, happens from the age of 45. And that's when most women are in the position of leadership. They really step into those.
They're climbing
and it can affect their career trajectory because then suddenly they're doubting their capabilities. They're thinking like, can I still do this? Then they bypass promotional opportunities. So with the book, I'm sharing that, you know what, you can be bold, you can still thrive, you can still tick all these boxes through this phase of life. You don't have to dim the light. And then it looks at menopause through the cultural lens because, I mean, we as African people, not much was documented. So I'm saying that let us get information around this phase of life. How was it navigated back then? What can we get also to help us in this present day? And it speaks to certain challenges, Department of Health. How are they helping women that are really not in a position to afford some of the medication or treatments that help to navigate this period? It speaks to questions like menopause and HIV. How do HIV positive women navigate this? Is it the same? And also, as we're getting older, our partners are getting older, men. So as their testosterone is also declining, they some experience what is called andropause. Then why we're not speaking about those things? So the book is quite broad. And that's how it landed again to the speaking opportunities because then, the book we've read, but let us get into spaces to speak about this.
And unpack further.
Corporate SA.
Yes.
Change it to be menopause inclusive.
Tell me something, as entrepreneurs who are building businesses, we often neglect taking care of ourselves. And we're often the last people to go to the doctor, to seek help, even when we see certain things, signs showing. For an entrepreneur, what are some of the practical implications of going through menopause in their business?
Menopause can actually turn your business upside down.
Okay.
Because normally when we speak about the symptoms are over 100, but normally we focus on things like your hot flashes, the weight gain and all of that, but we hardly look at especially the psychological symptoms and the emotional symptoms.
Okay.
For example, lack of focus, lack of motivation. You can get amazing opportunities. I mean, like this podcast is sponsored by this amazing bank that can sometimes say that entrepreneurs come, these are the opportunities. You have all of this, but you just cannot bring yourself to show up. So,
Show up,
to show up. And then people are looking and it's like, but what is going on with her? And then if you know about menopause as much as possible, then you are able to identify the symptoms. Then you are able to say that, okay, fine, I need to then relook at my life in its entirety.
Yes.
For example, lack of motivation. Now that I know that it's tuned to this, then I need to find ways of pepping myself up.
Yes.
If it means that I have to have a community around me that we help to motivate each other, whether it's other women that have walked the journey, to say that, girl, we know that you are transitioning into menopause, because that's the worst phase, the perimenopause, just before menopause hits. Then we are going to be here to carry you, to encourage you. You are saying that maybe you are in an active space. Fatigue, that round over fatigue. Then how do you navigate it? You are saying that you're struggling with insomnia. Then you need to relook then how you manage your calendar, because as entrepreneurs, we love burning the midnight oil sometimes. And then if you are fatigued, then you are deemed to be worse than a drunk person. Your cognition, your mood, you're irritable, you're cranky. You are not as creative.
Yeah.
True.
Then now you need to reteach yourself. For example, I had to reteach myself how to sleep properly. I mean, after leaving the airline, because we work crazy hours, and also with the menopause. So I had to teach myself that, you know what, I need to get into bed like an hour earlier than normal. And I kept moving it. Now, normally, if I'm home, 7:30, I'm winding down for the evening.
Okay.
Emails, I'm not touching anything, so that in the morning I'm refreshed.
Yes.
Then I can be more impactful because of the optimum rest.
Yes.
So the more symptoms you know, like how you're eating, menopause is almost like bringing you back to yourself. Holistic living, you are healthy and all of that. Making time to be fit and active. Entrepreneurs, we can want to push and do so much, but we need to be intentional about being healthy, being
intentional,
fit, being active and all of that. Taking time to unplug and rest. Because sometimes you're thinking, oh no, we want to be on some 32-hour day. But it's like, no.
It's no longer practical.
No. You can push, say that, you know what, my working hours are from 11 till 5, and they're going to be impactful.
Yes.
Then. So
Yes.
there's quite a number of practical tools to still thrive.
I love that. And tell me something, because, you know, we are navigating businesses that have got teams and we are employing people.
Yeah.
Now, how do we build businesses that are menopause friendly while also now trying to strike the balance with being profitable as well?
Yes. I love that question. Very brilliant. I always say that firstly, it is important as teams to normalize this phase of life, and this starts through awareness and conversations.
Yes.
And also, if it's normalized, then there's no need for anybody to be embarrassed and shameful, because research has shown that 2 out of 5 women, they hide their menopause struggles at work or in their businesses, because they think like their capabilities are going to be now like
questioned.
Yes. Only to find that, you know what, firstly, the pandemic showed us about the impact or the power of flexi hours.
Yes.
So with your team, you can say that, okay, fine, this is what is expected from me, and I know that maybe these are the symptoms that I'm navigating. So I cannot show up at 8, but I can show up at 11 and then work till maybe 7, work later. Then I'm still putting in the 8 hours like everybody else, but via the flexi hours. I struggle with brain fog. Okay, so when now I have to show up for meetings and stuff or presentations, then I am going to print an extra copy of my presentation, so that if I'm having like that buffering moment, then you can step in as a team member. You cover me, because some women have actually costed their companies sometimes businesses because missing that zero.
Yes.
And then the ripple effect.
Of course.
And then others get warnings. But if this has been normalized, then you can say that I'm struggling with this. I need someone to go through my numbers with me, for me.
And it's not weird, because we've normalized the
We
conversation.
have normalized it. And most women think that menopause is all doom and gloom. But I always say that, especially once you're on the other side, post-menopause, then when your hormones stabilize, it's like you come back into your 4 again. And then we speak so much about toxic workplaces. Nobody speaks about the hormonal effects in the workplace.
True.
That, I mean, as we go through the different cycles as women, whether it's through pregnancy or just our periods leading into menopause also, your emotions can be all over the place.
Yes.
But once you get to the other side, then you stabilize. You are such an easy person to be around with. You look at the older women, full of wisdom, the calmness. So those are the things that menopausal or postmenopausal women can bring to the team.
So there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
I can be that voice of reason in the office to say that, you know what, because now they are more calmer. Because I say in the office, sometimes there's a woman that is dealing with PMS. We know that time of the month comes with its own struggle.
Yes.
There's someone who's pregnant. Hormones are all over the place.
Absolutely.
There's someone who is perimenopausal. There is a man that is dealing with his testosterone and hormonal issues. And normally when we look at toxic workplaces, we do not specify that. Let's look into hormonal health in the workplace.
Yes.
And we can have better thriving teams also and be able to just support each other.
Wow, I've never even looked at it from that perspective, is to say, because we're all going through something hormonal, and it can be at
That's the
different
truth
stages.
of the matter. Yes.
Yes.
Can I check as well? I mean, since you had written the book, what type of opportunities and what spaces have you then since gone into?
It's been quite a number of spaces other than talking to various corporate organizations. I got an opportunity to do a TED on this phase of life.
Really?
Yes.
Brilliant.
And yet again, we divinely guided, because I know that with the TED, you have to apply for it.
Yes.
But they approached me because some people have been so happy with the work that I've been doing over the past few years. So that is that. The podcast is also coming.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's exciting.
It is very exciting. And how the podcast came about, firstly, is because, I mean, when you get to spaces to speak menopause, it's such a broad subject.
Yes.
In our 10 to 15 minutes is never enough.
Yes.
So I eventually decided that a podcast is going to allow us to have that one platform where we are able to unpack menopause at leisure.
Yes.
And also not speak it in Oli's voice, but amplify so many other women's voices. Mine was premature for unknown reasons, but there are women that go into it due to maybe cancer,
Sure.
via hysterectomies, unknown reasons, and all of that. We need to hear that.
Yes.
And also, if we are saying that we want to change, especially with corporate SA, they need to hear from as many women how the struggles have been. Because I always challenge sometimes some retired female executives to say that, how did you navigate this phase of life? And they're like, oh, don't even want to talk about that. It's like, that's how then we continue to struggle with things, because we say we don't want to talk about this.
100%.
How are we going to have change if we do not then speak about the important things? Because before showing up as an employee,
Yes.
you are a human being first.
Yeah.
To thrive and deliver, you need to be at your optimum best.
Yes.
And optimum best does not stop at a certain age.
Yes.
We need to make sure that women, and everybody, including men, they thrive through different stages of life.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I know you offer coaching as well. What does that entail within the menopause space?
The coaching part, when it comes to the menopause space, the doctor can play his role, right? Treatment and all of that. But relatability is important. So I always say, whether it's alcohol, the weight issues, struggling with cancer, you want to sit with people that get it, people that have walked the journey. I've had people ask me, what does it feel like to get a hot flash? They don't get it. You have to explain it. But when you are with a woman that has gotten it, and when it's happening, you just look at each other like, you get it.
Yeah.
So that is what coaches offers women, to say that, you know what, my family supports me, my husband supports me, but I can't speak to him all the time with my struggles because he doesn't get it. Sometimes that glazed over look can happen because it's like, I no longer know what to say or what to do. So it's a space for women to be able to just mask off, because sometimes society still also expects this perfection and all of that. So then with the coaching, we sit like, what are your real struggles? Like in the book, I've got 2 chapters that are title TMI because, I mean, it's too much information for someone, but it's the reality.
It's the reality, yeah.
Yes, women need to say that there is nothing that is TMI with my experience. There's nothing embarrassing. There's nothing shameful. I'm not going to be judged. So it offers that. And also to prepare sometimes women when they go for consultation, because women still feel like, oh my God, I feel like my doctor does not really listen to me. Then you help them to gain that confidence to say that you deserve to be heard through your medical consultation. If you do not feel heard, go look for another doctor.
Yes.
You are not tied to that one doctor. And also sometimes our doctors are not as screwed up because menopause is under-researched and it's under-studied. So one has said to me, my doctor is so good for pregnancy. But I can tell that now that I'm perimenopausal, whenever I bring that up, I can tell that he's not the one. So it is important to have that confidence to say that, you know what, you're good for this, but I can then go for that. And it can be confusing also. I mean, right now, the menopause train is here. There's menopause influencers, there are people that are punting all these supplements and all of that. It can be confusing. You can be so gullible that you're buying anything and everything.
For a
And all of those things. So it's a space to like help women to be able also to filter this menopause and capitalistic train that is out there to say that, you know what, that's helping them also to save money. Because these things are costly.
Sure. Amazing nuggets. I mean, I've learned so much from this conversation and even just from your journey as well. Papa Biz, let me kind of throw the ball into your court. What have been some of your aha moments from our conversation today with Koli?
No, outside of obviously your experiences, just in the entrepreneurial mindset, just taking one's personal experience and then looking and seeing, but why is there so much silence around this? And in that space, then to shed more light and to put a voice there, and then taking it further now where you also now amplifying and giving voices to others where it's been hidden. And that's such a point that I've taken from how you've spoken and just shared so emotively in terms of your experience, and I really appreciate that.
I think for me, my biggest takeaway from today's conversation is the importance of us having those uncomfortable conversations. I think sometimes the reason we don't talk about it is because it feels uncomfortable, and we've just put a very unnecessary stigma, like you've kind of been put out to pasture, and that's not true. You've actually proven and shown us that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and if you can get a handle on this, there's a world that's still awaits us.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Actually, the byline of the book is turning my premature menopause lemons into lemonade, because it's helped me to step into my purpose. I'm getting paid now. I'm making a living. Like
You're monetizing.
You're monetizing.
You see, so it's all come together. But if I had just shriveled up in 2016, put my head down, and like, this is that, then I would have deprived myself and so many other women and so many families and organizations of the opportunity to say that we need to make the change.
100%. Koli, if a person has listened to this conversation, maybe they want to get in touch with you either for coaching, to order your book, or to just further educate themselves on this topic, how do they go about doing that?
Okay, on LinkedIn it's Xoli Madlala, and it's other Redefining Menopause Africa, the movement that I've started. Then on Instagram it is Mask Off with Koli. Then on Facebook the group is Redefining Menopause Africa. On TikTok is Redefining Menopause Africa. And you can DM me also for private conversations, because sometimes people just need to understand that they're not losing their marbles.
And to talk.
So I'm open for such.
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. Such a highly informative conversation, Monetizers. Please let us know your thoughts down below, and do actually make sure that you follow Koli, because this is a conversation that shouldn't just end here. All right, so that brings us to the end of this week's podcast conversation, Monetize Your Business in partnership with FNB. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.